Wir sitzen in Davis Diner nach dem Sponsorenabend gestern und ich glaube, wir können ein bisschen die Atmosphäre und also ein bisschen eure Zielsetzung heute definieren gemeinsam. Mit am Tisch der Clubpräsident. How do you spell Stefan? Stefan Seeger.
S-T-E-P-H-A-N.
Ja.
Stefan.
Nicht verwandt mit Bob Seeger wahrscheinlich.
No, ich wünsche, das ist
Ja. Und mit Franz Vodermeier. Und ich würde jetzt mal, nachdem wir vor knapp einem Jahr, glaube ich, in einer großen Krisensituation zusammengesessen sind oder beim Christian Engel uns getroffen haben, haben wir heute eine deutlich optimistische Ausgangsposition. Wie fühlt sich das jetzt momentan an für euch?
Für uns ist jetzt alles neu, aber ich habe die letzten 3 Monate viele Zeit hier in Weiden und ich fühle mich gut aus Mannschaft aus. Ich glaube, dass wir sind jetzt sicher. Wir haben eine sehr gute Mannschaft auf der Eis, bestimmt, sehr stark. Und das ist erst im Kopf war, wenn wir zum Weiden, wenn wir mit der Mannschaft in Weiden sein können, mit einer starken Mannschaft. Das ist my first thought. I think it was a good idea because the motivation behind coming to Weiden was partly because of the record. I liked what I saw Bassa doing. He was coach of the year last year, not by accident, because he did a good job. And it was good to come from North America, to have somebody here in Europe that understands the game, is open to the American ideas and that type of thing. So.
Ausgerechnet jetzt fallen Ihre 2 Spieler, nenne ich es mal, mit McNiven, die fallen verletzt aus. Es ist schade, ne?
Es geht so in Hockey, weißt du? You have to be prepared for this type of thing. Aber ich war sehr stolz over die deutsche Spieler auch. Ribnitsky stepped up. We have German players that are also very strong. Specifically, our imports were selected because we knew who they could play with. So when I came first, we spent a lot of time, especially me and Jürgen, for the first week or so, to make sure that our players who were coming back would be re-signed and just to make sure there was a balance of the players that could play with one another on the ice.
Ist eventuell geplant, wenn sich die Verletztenmisere nicht bessert, nochmal personell nachzulegen in dieser Saison? Neue Spieler eventuell noch zu holen?
Well, wenn wir neue Spieler brauchen, ja bestimmt. So geht es immer in Hockey, weißt du? Some players that are not working out and some players work out better than others. And manche Spieler haben sowieso einen Contract, einen Vertrag für die nächsten 2 Jahre. So was können wir mit sowas machen. We have to have them next year. So.
Was hat denn dazu geführt, dass Ihre Eishockey-Begeisterung Sie ausgerechnet nach Weiden geführt hat? Hätte ja Kassel sein können beispielsweise, wo Ihr Hintergrund ist.
No, wir haben auch 2 andere Mannschaften, Junior-Mannschaften in den Staaten und auch so in Kanada. Und wir haben sowieso für ein Pro-Team gesucht, weißt du. Und mein Sohn hat mit Vladi Filan gespielt. Und so they talk, all the time. Everybody follows what all the players, their friends are doing. And he said to my son, I really like it here in Weiden. The people are very good. The atmosphere is very good. And, we watched a couple of games and Stefan said, how's it going with you? He said, I don't know, we may not be continuing, after the new year. It was just, I don't know, maybe January or February. And I said to Stefan, ask him why. Because, like I said, we were looking for a pro team anyway. And, Weiden wasn't first on our mind because we knew, among other things, that the rink was smaller and it's a small market team. But then when I heard about the fans and the spirit of the Weiden people, I started to watch more games. And we were very careful. We asked Vladi, Wardle, he played in the same junior town in Merritt, British Columbia, like Stefan. So it was really the players that gave us the information. If you know anything about hockey, the business guys, they always say one thing. But if you really want the truth, then you ask the players. They'll tell you how good the coach is, how good the fans are. So we, like the North American way. I'm not American, I'm Canadian. So, we always joke with the Americans how much better we are. But, nowadays it's not so much true. The U.S. puts good teams together and so do the European teams. But anyways, the most important thing is we got the truth. They say in English, right from the horse's mouth, who can tell us about the team? Most of the time the players can. They know what's going on.
Franz hat uns erzählt, beim ersten Anruf war er ganz baff, also positiv baff natürlich. Ihr wollt ihn kaufen. Dann gab es eine Art Assessment Center oder Interview. Was waren denn die entscheidenden Kriterien, dass ihr gesagt habt, ja, das ist in Ordnung hier kann man arbeiten?
The question was whether or not when I spent time with Franz to determine whether everything was in order in Weiden. Well, when we first got together, he and I spent probably 3 weeks together, like very late at night around each other's schedules. And yeah, the numbers were the numbers. We knew that we'd lost a major contributor with the Seeger group. And at that time, it was a life raft, life jacket situation. Had to save the team before we could talk about, what was going to go on in the future. So our first steps involved Franz making some determinations about what at minimum we would require to make sure the team could finish the season. I liked the idea of, just focusing on that, one step at a time. So that's what we did. And we made sure first and foremostly that we saved the team last year. And, over the summertime, we picked our players. And I said last night to the sponsors, there's a very important distinction in hockey. There's hockey, and then there's the business of hockey. And there's some overlap, but you have to understand both sides of it in order to make that type of decision. So immediately in the beginning of the summer, we made some plans to we leave the staff in place. I mean, it's Weidens' team. It's not the Birch Group's team like you think, we come in. We didn't change anything because there was nothing that was broken. We had a different budget, of course, but our key personnel, like Franz is here. You see Franz here. You see Jürgen. You see Bassa. And there's a reason for that, because it was none of their faults that a sponsor, withdrew support for whatever reason that occurred. And, I was of the mindset that we couldn't come in. We could help with hockey players and a North American influence and connections. But that also went two ways. My son's coaching now in the British Columbia League, and Jürgen also arranged to have some younger German players get an opportunity in the BCHL as well, and the other way around as well. So everybody stays there because they do their job well. I don't think that we can replace key personnel like Franz. It's not a good idea, and I see what he does. I see how hard he works, and none of us are magicians. We can't wave a wand to cure every problem in the business of hockey, but we work at it. So now I think that we have saved the team last year, and now it's time for the people and the community to get together and help us make sure the team continues on into the future, because this small little city has a great history of hockey. It's strange in one sense, because when I come to Germany, I always I think of Fußball, right? Sie haben so Fußball so gerne hier. Hockey habe ich nicht geglaubt, aber my son played here for a few years, and so you go to small towns, and he played in Frankfurt, he played in Freiburg, and in Kassel, and so in those cities, my Tante Liesel, she was a big hockey fan. I could never figure out why. And she was in Kassel. So she said, we can Kassel Huskies, we can watch them. So, we used to do that when I would visit. But I never really considered coming back to Germany for, a huge hockey experience until last year. I just, I'd know my own experience, and, we had everything in order as far as we could to make the plan to come in. So it's really a philanthropic thing. Ich weiß nicht, wie ich in Deutsch sowas sagen kann. Philanthropic. There were players here that deserved to stay. There were players here that deserved to get their paycheck for the rest of the year, and we were experimenting anyway. So when I talked to the Birch Group associates, and we talked about finances and that type of thing, we knew that there was a big hole to fill. And things are different here in Germany than in Canada or the United States. In Canada, you have huge companies. Like, just for example, Canadian Tire or Tim Hortons. I don't want to offend any other Canadian companies, but these are huge multinational companies that have always contributed to hockey. They have hockey camps for kids. They have advertising in the NHL. They have advertising at every level. And here it's a little different. It's because I think hockey's not the main sport. You have the larger market teams that generate a lot of interest for advertisers. Because if you're in business, well, what are you looking for? I want to see my logo. I want to see my brand. I want to see my mark on the television as much as possible.
Und ihr wolltet gar nicht das Logo hier haben?
Well, because the philosophy was this. We wanted to have the logo at center ice basically represent the community. And when I come to Weiden, I always feel comfortable. Like I said a couple times before, so wie zu Hause here, and I feel at home here, and I always feel welcome. But the most important thing about a small market team, and again, this is the difference between hockey and the business of hockey. A small market team like this should have a major sponsor from the community at center ice. And when I spoke to the Birch group, and I spoke to Dave a couple times about this, it wasn't that we didn't want to have our logo at center ice or be prominent and let the people know we're here for them, but we let the people know we're here for them in other ways. So if I had a preference, even if it was a small outfit or a very, very local part of the history in Weiden that was at center ice, I would have preferred that. But it was a little rushed too. So if we had more time, I'm sure there would have been somebody else at center ice except the Birch group. But I also have to listen to what they tell me here. Franz and the guys, they know here, what the local people think, and so we listen. But I would have preferred, honestly, to have some small outfit that maybe weren't a major sponsor to send a message. It doesn't matter who you are. And it's not necessarily so much dollars all the time. Who comes and who volunteers? Who helps with the jobs for the players, and who helps give what they can and wants to make sure that the team is up and running, not next year, but 5 years, 10 years from now. So if we didn't get all the money for the center ice logo, but we had somebody that could send, the message is invaluable. You can't replace the message of a community and a sponsor who says, hey, I stepped up. And maybe I don't have $1 million, but I had 5,000 euros and I put it for the center ice. I would have rather had that because it gives it gives me something to talk about. When we do these interviews, such and such a sponsor stepped up and now they're at center ice. Why? Because they care about the team. They're here every sponsor meeting. So this is important to me because coming from Canada, I know there are a lot of small market teams and it's tough. I don't know, who else you interview, but not many people you interview are going to say the most profitable thing in life is to purchase a hockey team. You're not going to become Bill Gates or Elon Musk running a hockey team, especially at a lower level pro. So.
Habt ihr den Eindruck, dass ihr die Sponsoren davon überzeugt habt, dass es nicht reicht, dass ein großer Hauptsponsor jetzt da ist, sondern dass man mehrere mitnehmen müssen?
You mean like, did I review with the sponsors about having a major sponsor step up?
Ja, also der Eindruck ist ja, ihr kommt jetzt und jetzt ist ein großer Sponsor da mit großer Vision und wir können uns jetzt zurücklehnen. Also diese Balance irgendwie hinzubekommen.
War ja gestern unser Informationsabend und das war der Kern eigentlich der ganzen Veranstaltung, wo von meiner Seite und auch von Stefans Seite das Miteinander herausgestellt worden ist. Die Birch Group hat uns geholfen in der schwierigen Saison, wie der Stefan gesagt hat, dass wir überlebt haben, dass wir jetzt den ersten Schritt machen. Aber so richtig laufen geht nur, wenn wir alle zusammen, alle. Also Sponsoren, die Stadt, die Politik, die Fans und das ist ganz wichtig und das nicht ein großer dominierender Kopf, die Birch Group alleine, sondern es kann nur funktionieren. Das ist das Weidener Hockey und nicht das Hockey von der Birch Group. Das war gestern so die Message, die Stefan ausgesendet hat, die wir auch gefühlt haben, die angekommen ist, die Botschaft.
Also es gibt schon Feedback irgendwie. Man hat den Eindruck, das wird verstanden von...
Also war auf jeden Fall gestern in den Nachgesprächen schon ganz deutlich, dass wir das geschafft haben.
Ja.
Ich auf meine Weise, Stefan natürlich in seiner sehr überzeugenden Art. Nicht nur in einer anderen Sprache, sondern auch mit seiner Emotionalität und seinem Drive, den er hat, haben wir das schon rübergebracht. Es kann nur funktionieren, wenn die bisherigen Sponsoren und weitere und die ganze Familie Eishockey, bis hin zur Politik, auch zur Stadt. Ja, der Bürgermeister war gestern auch da, der Rainer Wiedenauer. Und den haben wir immer wieder in die Diskussion mit einbezogen. Ne? Dass ohne Unterstützung kann es keine weiteren Schritte dann geben, weil jetzt auch wenn die Stadt vielleicht finanziell nicht so gut aufgestellt ist, wir brauchen trotzdem die Unterstützung von der Stadt, wenn man neue Dinge angehen will. Dass wir halt nicht auf geschlossene Türen stoßen, sondern auf geöffnete Türen. Wie damals unser erster Besuch war auch beim Oberbürgermeister mit dem Stefan zusammen, dass die wissen, das sind jetzt unsere Gesellschafter und sie legen großen Wert, dass auch mit der Politik hier in Weiden ein enger und ein guter Verbund dann da ist.
Ja.
Ja, bestimmt. So wie ich gestern gesagt habe, unsere Zukunft ist genau unsere Zukunft, weißt du? Wir müssen immer alle zusammen sein, especially when we need to make sure the team moves forward, and we're here to help. Nobody likes to come into an organization where you save a team and then they just simply rely on things remaining the same, because that's not the way that it works. You have to have interest, because interest, of course, builds your fan base. And I see the fan base. The fans are great here. It's one of the most attractive things about Weiden. But what I meant to say yesterday was, yes, every entity, every organization has a future. And everybody in this room here, they've been together. I was here last time. They had awards. People were with the club for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. So when you talk about future with these types of people, it would be nice for them to share with the other sponsors, their view. Yes, our future is exactly that. Our future, not just the future. And if you get on this trip about, hey, the future, it will come, I don't know. I worked hard when I was a kid. I never had I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I worked hard for what I got, and I know what that means. And just because now I'm a lawyer, that doesn't mean I've changed my view, and my kids have been reared that way. And I see there's a lot of blue-collar people and businessmen here in Weiden, and this is always sowieso in Deutsche Weg. You bring your children up to have manners and work hard. Germany, and the German culture is known across the entire world as a strong and hard work ethic. So to me, I think that was going to be the easy part here. So, I want to focus on that. I want the sponsors to know, for example, that we don't just want them to come in here and enjoy the VIP room and, hey, give me money, give me money. That's not what we want. We want to give back as well. So we brought some special people, like Glenn, for example. It's very difficult to get Glenn. I told him to put on the social media 9 days with number 9. But then I don't know if the German people understand that he was number 9, or the history of Glenn Anderson, who played with Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier. He's probably one of the most brilliant hockey minds that are on the planet right now. And the little kids don't know who he is, but then the father will say, oh, well, this, and they'll explain. So why do I bring this up? Because our sponsorship should realize we have access to things that maybe people before that were involved in the organization do not have access to. So if they want to collaborate on an advertisement, or they want to collaborate on a little commercial for the game, we have access to Glenn, for example, and they should know that. And I told them that. My speech was very different than Franz's. He said he had a pie chart. We break up the numbers. I'm saying, oh, that's a pie chart. I said, I don't have a pie chart. I have more for you people like apple strudel. This is what we're here to do, and this is what we want to do. And I didn't have a planned speech. It was a room full of people that I presumed were in love with their team and wanted to see their team succeed, and that was the message. If we're going to succeed, then tell me what I can do for you, and you tell me what you can do for me, and we'll get there somehow. And I think that's the strongest message.
Gibt es vergleichbar, ich habe das mit dir, glaube ich, schon mal besprochen gehabt, wie Straubing, jetzt Größenordnung von einer Stadt wie Straubing. Gibt es Sponsorenmodelle, wie man Leuten klar machen kann, wo ihr Mehrwert ist? Du hast ja jetzt schon einiges gesagt, also die Begeisterung. Es gibt ja vielleicht einige Sponsoren, die nicht ganz so Eishockey begeistert sind, die es aus anderen Gründen machen. Kann man irgendeinen Mehrwert versprechen, den man sichtbar machen kann?
Ja gut, der erste Mehrwert, wenn wir jetzt nach unten schauen, ist ja immer, ich sage mal, die Jugend, der Nachwuchs, die Kinder, die heute Kinder sind, aber morgen, jetzt sage ich es mal ganz platt wieder, sind das auch mögliche Arbeitskräfte. Es ist ja für viele lokale Unternehmen die Möglichkeit gegeben, durch die Kontakte zur Jugend schon mal für später Arbeitskräfte zu ziehen. Das wird ja immer schwieriger, ne? Nachwuchs in die Firma reinzubringen, und wenn man da schon recht frühzeitig dabei ist, das ist so immer schon ein wesentlicher Punkt bei den Sponsoren gewesen, neben den ganzen Werbeaspekten, dass man dann sagt, ich bin da dabei. Aber dass ich zu den möglichen Arbeitskräften der Zukunft früh genug Kontaktaufbau, das ist, denke ich mal, schon ein Mehrwert, den gerade die BHS als unser größter Sponsor dann auch erkannt hat, dass das eine wesentliche Basis sein kann für die Zukunft eines Unternehmens.
And there's a direct relationship. I mean, sponsors, for example, when you own a company for a while, you're a little older, so you have children of your own, sometimes young adults, and they like a sport, and maybe they like hockey. And you can give a youth hockey program as much money as you want. They still have to have people that know what they're doing. They still have to have people that are good trainers, people they can look up to. And so there needs to be more. I like the European system, how the club stays together from a young age right up to the pro level. But collaboration, wie sagst du in Deutsch? Collaboration. Yeah. So it's easier because look how close we're here. Where are the youth players? And they're right here on the ice now. So our players are here. So at the beginning of the year, we have a player or two that go and practice with the youth hockey people. I have 2 or 3 youth hockey people, and of course Smiley, of course, he's always in contact to update me on what's going on. And you need to have that sponsorship view should be more collaborative, because you may think, I want to sponsor the youth hockey. It's always a good thing for the youth. The pro people, they have their own thing. Well, part of what the team can give back is some of the training, and you see the little kids at the game. You see when they come, they have a Glazer shirt on, or they have a German player that they love, or sometimes an import player, and they feed off that. Like young kids perform better when they have something to look up to. Not just anything, not just read a book or see something on TV, but hey, on Friday nights, on Sunday, I see him. When I bring my hockey bag, and we brought the hockey bag down the steps today, for example, and I told, I think it was McNiven, can you come pick me up? Because I gave Jürgen the car. And while we were walking down the steps, the little boy was carrying the bag down, and Nivi lifted the back of the bag up. And I almost took the bag and the little kid. But the little guy was going to remember that, because you could see he's looking up, and he knew that it was McNiven. And the other day we were here, and it's the same thing. They know Vladi. They know the players, and that's something to look at. It's very important. It's not like Canada when you have every 6 blocks you have not 6 blocks, but you have many arenas. The too many, enough, let's say. And here you don't have that. So if you love the game of hockey, where do you come? You come to your rink and you have your locker room. And I encourage Bassa and Jürgen also, if the little guys want to walk by the dressing room or whatever, always be helpful with them. And they do. We all share that vision. Because I think at a certain level in hockey, you do realize the connection between the professional league and the local youth hockey people. There was a time where Sidney Crosby was with his youth hockey organization. I remember we were in I think it's Mario Lemieux's hometown, Marc Messier and his father. We were on the bench in the Pee Wee tournament, and the stories that come on. Hey, you remember when I saw this player? And they say, yeah, I made you into a great player, huh, Mario? And they joke. Well, this is true. So when it comes to support, for example, there's a connection. You don't have to look at the professional team differently than the youth hockey team, because here your system is to keep the two together. Here in Weiden, they need to do more of that. The team needs to be more active. And not only on the ice. I mean, we can put players on the ice. And like Glenn today, if you don't film me, film Glenn. Glenn is going to be out there today, and he'll go out with a group of under-9s just to see what's going on, because he's a hockey connoisseur. He wants to see hockey. And this is an opportunity for the kids. They develop mentally. And in the United States, it's different altogether again. There, you go at 5 o'clock in the morning, people pay hundreds of dollars for hourly lessons. And when I first came to the United States, I had $60 in a Volkswagen Passat. And, I moved into an area, it was probably one of the wealthiest areas in New England, on the border of New York. And I used to see the people in hockey, and they would say, my father was he played junior hockey, and so he wants to be coach. So that's nice, he can be coach, and that was great that they wanted to do that. But in Canada, you have 10 NHL players. They're all fighting for a job for youth hockey. The culture is different, and you don't have to change German hockey culture. You don't have to convert Canadian hockey culture, but you can learn things from watching what happens. My point was, in America, I think they spent, I was always coaching the little guys, so I didn't get into it too much, but hundreds of dollars a week to try to develop a hockey player. It's an expensive sport. And I used to tell them all the time, coming from Canada, just spend $150 and just buy the NHL package, or buy the package where you can watch college hockey or junior hockey. Because if the kids don't watch enough hockey, and they don't understand the game, it's like school, right? You can repeat, but some people just they don't get to that next level. The light bulb doesn't go off. So the kids here have to learn to watch hockey, and this is the first place they start. Where the fuck? Their parents bring them to the Weiden Blue Devils game, and then what do? If they go on elite hockey prospects, they look up, where did McNiven play? Where'd Bohawk, where's he from Czech? How does that work? And they start to ask questions, and they learn about how in their own futures they can behave to get to the next level. Jürgen is a great hockey hero here in Germany. I'm sure that most of the kids know who he is, and it's something to be proud of. You need a lot of things to be proud of, and this is where it begins here in your local rink.
Wie schafft man es denn, sportlichen Ehrgeiz und Realismus zusammenzubringen? Also wenn ich das richtig gehört habe, als du angekommen bist, gab es einmal, wir steigen auf und wir bauen eine neue Eishockeyhalle. Das scheint sich ja nicht ganz so einfach darzustellen. Als mir der Franz erzählt hat, was es kostet, dass man überhaupt mal anklopfen darf in der ersten Liga in Regensburg. Die haben vor 2 Jahren die Meisterschaft gewonnen, aber man steigt ja nicht auf, weil man Meister wird. Wie schafft man es? Im Sport ist es ja immer so, nicht nur die Spieler selber wollen immer noch weiter oben, sondern das Umfeld. Wenn man irgendwo mal oben dran ist, will man ja unbedingt immer weiter. Wie schafft man da die Erwartungen zu dämpfen?
Okay, so was habe ich nicht gesagt. We had the German meeting, I forget who it was downstairs, and they said, what do you have your visions for Weiden? And I never said, we're going to go to the DEL. I never said that. I said, of course we want to take it a step higher. However they interpret it, they interpret it. And it's the same thing with the rink. Seeger never came in here and said, hey, Franz, we're going to build a brand new rink. That's not what happened. We had some local people come to us. Yeah. And they said, how do you like the rink? I said, it's great. And really it started because we don't have enough seats. Sometimes we could have 3,000 people, but they know that we have a limit. And so I had asked the local people, what have you done to make arrangements in the rink? Well, first of all, the former owner, Ziegler, did a good job, his beautiful job here in the VIP room to make more space and whatnot. That doesn't help us with the seats. So I said, well, did anybody think about how they would expand? They said, there was a plan before, maybe we can lift the roof up a bit, whatever. And I said, oh yeah, and then somebody came to me about this idea, they had another spot, and when I talked about other ice rinks and stuff, it was a response. It wasn't a Birch group or a Seeger idea. It was in response to some of the questions that I was being asked from the youth hockey people. So for example, they don't have enough room. They don't have enough locker rooms. They don't like to have no place to put their equipment, and I understand that. And parents have they have to bring the equipment back and forth, and the junior team should have their own locker room. And so when I talked about that, I think I talked to Dave about it. We spoke about other facilities, not in this area, but like we have in Canada or in the United States, where you have a complex where you have a main ice rink and you have a practice ice here. Not just this is nice too with the outside, but inside. For the youth hockey people, not for we need to build a new team because we're gonna take the Blue Devils to the DEL. So let's be very clear about this. We need to pay our dues, of course, and manchmal habe ich ein bisschen Spaß mit Bassa, right? Don't worry, Bassa. I'm going to tell them in the newspaper tomorrow, we cannot lose this game. Oh, no, don't say that, don't say that. So, ich spiele mit ihm. And it's just fun, and then I get a call from the other team sometimes. They laugh. They say, oh, you're going to go that deep? I said, what am I going to say? We're going to lose every game? Thank you for letting me be in the DEL too. Maybe we can win a couple of games. Well, you think our sponsors and our fans would be happy with this response? Yeah. But sometimes my issue is I am either on the far one side or the far other, nothing in the middle. But you learn now when you speak to the media here that the people feel things differently. So that's why I told last night the same thing. So some of the older people came and said, well, you can't have another DEL rink and you have another DEL team and you're going to take our team with us. I don't know where I have no idea where they come up with this except for this talk about the rink. Would it be nice to have a facility outside of even this context, outside of the team and where the professional team is going? Of course. I mean, look at this is a beautiful rink. It has some history, but in terms of modern rinks, could you offer more? If you have a growing program, you need more room. You need more ice. You need more ice time. So That was really the message. But it was fun while it lasted. We were gonna go up to, I think we were already in the DEL, I think, or the higher league, maybe even before we played the first game. It was, just the bisschen Spaß, that's all. It was nothing, it was not meant to say, oh, we're gonna take the DEL 2 team from Weiden and we're gonna make it a DEL. That really wasn't the message. And so I told the sponsors last night, the team is here to stay. It's your team. We pay our dues. And it was funny, even Jürgen and Bassa, Jürgen says to me, he goes, well, we're not really, right now, we don't know if we're the best team in the league. And I said, well, Jürgen, this is your team. So, when you go on the news, right, the last thing you want to do is tell the world, we have a team, and I invested all this work, and we got all these new players and these new imports, but we're not a great team. Nobody wants to hear that. So, try to wrap your mind around, why I say the things I say. Because I do think the team is strong. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I better to be wrong than not excited about things. You understand? So he said, I think Anthony said, well, I think the Kreuzfeld Penguins are a really good team. And was ist mit der Kreuzfeld Penguins zweimal passiert? We beat them, right? And so, but then we lose to the teams, for example, that we should have won. So Gates in hockey, but you still have to have fun. I mean, if I was Kreuzfeld or the Kastel team, and there was a new team coming into the league and say, oh, we're going to beat you guys. It's just Spaß. It's competitive Spaß. And when they come, you have a bigger match, and it's just what goes on outside. The other type of fun. I don't know. I like the challenge of it, and I'm not going to come in and put my time and effort into a culture that's not a winning culture. And that's the truth of the matter. Nobody wants to come in and have a team that no matter what you're doing, you can't win a game. Your fans don't like it. They don't come to the games. All of the good things that you can generate with a team that's winning falls by the wayside. Nobody then wants to become, even your sponsors, who wants to go be a sponsor if you only have half the people show up? But if you're winning games and you have exciting things to do and you have exciting guests and if you have four of your imports injured and 5 key German players, you play with half a team, and then they make a joke. They've got the Weiden Blue Devils like the Spartans, and they have the Weiden Blue Devil logo on a shield, right? And it's a compliment, because what the other people are saying, oh look, even with the players, the import players are down, and you got 4 or 5 key players gone. You still win games against very, very good teams. This is exciting. We should talk about this. We don't have to hide from this. And if after I say, well, I told you, I thought we were a strong team, that's just a message. We're a strong team with or without all of our imports, and that's the way that we built the team. That's not the business of hockey, that's the on-ice product. And we should have fun with it. That's what fans like. They want to hear that their team is good. The ownership group doesn't want to say, like I said, thank you so much. We're in the DEL 2, we're in the Oberliga last year. I really hope we can win 2 games. I don't know. I'm the wrong guy. Don't interview me if you want to hear that. I'm not going to say that. So I believe in our team. It's strong. And I think Jürgen and Bassa and I have worked over the last few months. We're always on the same page. There's a winning culture. It just gets expressed in different ways by different people. So, anyway.
Jetzt haben Sie am Wochenende leider ein etwas bitteres 2 Spiele erleben müssen. Freitag das 0:4 in Weißwasser und am Sonntag die zerbrochene Scheibe. Haben Sie sowas schon mal erlebt, das mit einer Scheibe?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know so much about the facility. Stadtwerke, they put new glass in this year, and so I didn't expect it. No, but from what I understood, there are replacement glass. Maybe the glass for the side versus the glass from the end or in the corner was not available. But I did not know the rule, and I think we're still waiting for a decision on that. It's a shame, because maybe North America would be different if you don't play so much time in the game, then the game gets repeated anyways. Here I heard stories already, there's a big meeting and we have to wait 2 days to get a decision, and it's just the rules, that's the way it goes. But live and learn. They put the new glass in this year. Nobody's perfect. I mean, the fans, it's funny, I'll give you an interesting statistic. So we played 1 period in about 8 minutes, and we probably sold the most beer in the whole season, because the people were were having fun and they were drinking beer, waiting for the glass to get fixed anyway. So was that an experience? Well, I didn't hear any complaints from our fans. I mean, I think they know things happen and everybody's still lighthearted. If we get to replay a game, great. If we lose, then we lose. So then I'm not supposed to say it. So I was thinking to myself, well, now we'll never know. So if I had to say something positive about that game, said if we would have kept playing the game, it was only 1-0. Maybe we could have won the game. We would have won the game. But my point is, you take the good with the bad, and this happened. It's an accident. It's you prepare. Everybody tries to prepare their best way. Just because you can't prepare perfectly doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job. The people that work here, they're hard workers. And a new product, a new glass, can this happen? Of course. Is it a disaster? Do I think that our fans are going to be angry? I don't think so. I think they're going to be fine. If we can make it up to them, we make it up to them. Right? Let me know how we can do that, and I'll try to help. But beer sales were through the roof. That was a funny statistic that came from it. So.
Also wenn es ein Geschäftsmodell ist, können wir helfen und ab und zu ein Glas kaputt machen.
Ja, oder wenn ich ehrlich sein darf, einmal, wenn man sagt, die Erfahrung machen, ist in Ordnung, ein zweites Mal wäre es zu viel.
Ja.
Und es sind halt viele unglückliche Zustände oder Umstände zusammengekommen. Jetzt muss man halt schauen, was die Liga dann entscheidet. Es war einfach ungünstig. Ja, Stefan hat es gesagt.
I don't think we're going to be judged by our glass. I think it'll be fine.
Über Jugendarbeit schon einiges gesagt. Wie realistisch ist es denn, dass man von der Jugend tatsächlich Spieler in die erste Mannschaft kriegt? Das ist immer so eine große Schwierigkeit, Hürde dann in der Profimannschaft Jugend zu integrieren.
Jetzt eine sportliche Frage, die muss insbesondere der Stefan dann, aber ich sage jetzt mal meine Meinung dann zuerst, weil das Thema beschäftigt ja alle Vereine. Und sicherlich jetzt, wir spielen in der U20 in der DNL 3, andere spielen in der DNL 2 oder in der DNL 1 und dort ist auch als erstes meines Erachtens das Problem von Jugendhockey zu Erwachsenenhockey. Der Sprung ist schon mal riesig. Das ist vermutlich der größere Sprung aus meiner Sicht. Und dann gleich in der DL2-Mannschaft reinzuspringen als Jugendspieler geht halt nur, wenn man entsprechend dann auch schon im Training immer dann dabei ist und seine ersten Erfahrungen machen kann. Und daran wird gearbeitet. Das haben die Herren ja jetzt eingetaktet, dass auch von unserer U20 immer am Dienstag schon die fleißigen und Erfolgreichen dann mittrainieren dürfen, dass sie da mal reinschnuppern. Der Sprung ist riesig aus meiner Sicht und man probiert es. Und es ist auch in Abstimmung mit der Jugend schon das gemeinsame Ziel, dass wir da durch die engere Zusammenarbeit noch besser werden, dass wir da vielleicht den einen oder anderen, gestern haben wir gesagt, ohne Umweg dort reinbringt, aber die ganze Jugendarbeit muss sich halt jetzt dementsprechend entwickeln. Das ist ein Prozess über viele Jahre, das sind 5 Jahre, eine kurze Zeit und das wird noch länger dauern, aber wir sind da aus meiner Sicht ganz erfolgreich, dass wir das irgendwann mal schaffen.
Wir müssen immer zusammenarbeiten, weißt du? Because, as I said before, the young kids in their hockey culture, we're responsible to develop the younger people, and there's a relationship. So wie Herr Meier gestern Abend gesagt, wir brauchen, I don't know, 4 Sterne or 5-star versus 3-star. And so if we don't have the 4th star or the 5th star, then we mustn't straff, but that's okay. I mean, it would be better, don't you think? It would be better if instead of paying the straff, we could invest the money into increasing the awareness and increasing the skill level of the junior players.
Man sieht es ja, Weiden hat ja schon den einen oder anderen Jugendspieler ja dann nach vorne gebracht. Ne? Also jetzt der Paul Vinzenz ist ja wieder da, der Adrian Klein ist in Straubing und das geht halt nur aus meiner Sicht durch sehr, sehr gute Ausbildung. Und dann muss natürlich der Eifer dann von den Spielern da sein. Talent braucht er eh. Und da arbeiten sie in der Jugend ganz, ganz scharf. Das ist gestern auch dargestellt worden, dass das die Vision der Jugend dann auch ist. Durch eine gezielte Jugendarbeit, durch, sage ich mal, gutes Coaching von frühesten Kindern an, dass die da näher herangebracht werden, dass man den Sprung dann schafft. Und dass es geht, sieht man ja. Ja. In Weiden genauso wahrscheinlich wie in anderen Vereinen dann auch. Und es geht nur mit der Jugend. Deswegen müssen wir da zusammenwachsen.
Was kann die Birch Group insgesamt dazu beitragen, Weiden erfolgreicher zu machen? Also es ist jetzt ein großes Wort, wenn man sagt, so dieser Red Bull-Kosmos, wo man ja versucht, verschiedene Vereine zusammenzuspannen. Ihr habt ja irgendwelche Kontakte in Kanada zu Vereinen. Also wie kann man sich da gegenseitig unterstützen?
In the United States, for example, there was a couple of different preparatory schools that had coaches and I guess business people that wanted to keep players together so the different prep schools could have the feeder system, let's say. And so they started a team, and that team would play in the local youth hockey areas and whatnot. And in Canada, yeah, it just depends, but it's not like here. It's not like every team must have a professional team or a junior team and all the youth hockey follows them. But we don't have the same issues in Canada because there's so much attention on youth hockey, so many national and international sponsorships that go hand in hand with youth hockey, and especially in Canada. So here, it's almost a survival thing, right? It's always been a different system. You know, you're surprised that you have young players that stick with the same organization. There, it's a little bit different because you know, the parents, they take their young man or their young lady and they go wherever it's best. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you can go on to the best team and it's not part of your local team, then you do it. You know, because of it's a little bit more crazy for hockey in Canada and the United States than it is here. But do you understand what I mean by that? Like here, the togetherness is good. You know, you have people that you're familiar with, and you have the professional team or the professional players in one organization of the same team, for example, like Blue Devils, all the way up, and they help them. It's more like a survival thing, right? And there's so many different hockey communities in Canada. Here, I don't know, where's the closest youth hockey team or youth hockey organization from Weiden? Wie weit weg?
No, Nürnberg, Selb, Bayreuth.
Okay, so
Regensburg.
this is all 1 hour away. So in Canada and the United States, you would have another organization 5 minutes away. So it's different, and so the parents and now they have so many different business aspects to youth hockey and also to junior hockey. The people have advisors. You know, as a 6 years old, father bangs like, "Come on, Johnny! You know, he's going to make the NHL." Everybody's going to go to the NHL when the kids are small. So then they hire like agents and what they used to call like family advisors. So these are like supposedly hockey experts or experts in youth and junior hockey, and they talk to the parents. Hey, you should move your little Johnny should go play here because this is a better team. They will look at him, and here they don't have the same opportunity in Germany. There's no. I said last night there's a school in Canada, Charak, where you wear your skates to school. They skate from one classroom to the other. So was passiert in Deutschland, right? They don't have this type of thing. The craze is a little bit different. So, to answer the question, I think was the end of your question? Do we think that we can do something like Red Bull here in Weiden? Is that what you're asking, or?
Something like that Red Bull Cosmos in football,
Yeah.
for example.
Oh, football.
Where,
Nice.
you have different relationships
Yeah.
between the clubs.
Yeah, I mean, informally, you always do anyways. I mean, I haven't been here long enough to really dig in, but, you know, Jürgen is a great example of having connections, and we reach out to other ownership groups. I think tomorrow, I mean, we're going to go see Ingolstadt in Berlin tomorrow because Glenn wants to talk with the coach of the Berlin Ice Bears, where Cliff Ronning is his, well, we're all friends from Vancouver. And his son, Ty Ronning, was playing, but he's injured. So, but Glenn, you can't keep him off the ice or off a hockey conversation. So he wants to go. He's going to talk to the coach anyway. So we reach out. We talk to other teams, ownership groups of other teams. So we have this crazy bubble hockey thing going on. It's a lot of fun. So you have to call the ownership groups and say, hey, why don't you put a bubble hockey team together, and before our home game come, and you have your bubble hockey team and you wear your jersey, we wear our jersey. Just fun stuff to keep it all going. But in terms of like other clubs, like in other sports, I don't know, I haven't really spoken any. There was a gentleman that called me about the local soccer team. I think they have a fourth league team here. Fifth league football team. Just speak a little bit about coffee, but it's a small market, so you know you have to start somewhere. And I think, like I said, the most important part is starting your own rink with your own fans.
Sie haben schon vorhin einige Male erwähnt, den Franz Wohlermeier, Jürgen Rumrich, Sebastian Buchwieser, dieses Dreigestirn im Verein. Wie wichtig ist das für die Zusammenarbeit auch mit Ihnen? Also,
No, it's very important. Again, as the business of hockey, when you come into an organization, if you feel or you observe strife or trouble or tension between your key players, usually that's the first thing you say, oh, well, that's why the organization's falling apart. Here, that was not the case. We knew that we had strong key employees, strong key people. Franz and Jürgen and Bassa all very, very close with one another, and I think I'm easy to get along with Franz. I don't scream at anybody. I don't want to scream. I want to go there and I want to have fun and I want to, solve things the proper way. But it's very important that they're here because they've been here for a while. They went from one league to another. They have that experience, and Bassa runs a very good locker room, and Jürgen and I speak mostly about on-ice stuff in hockey. I don't think it's appropriate for me to speak directly with a coach every single day. I wouldn't like that. I was a coach for a long time and at different levels, and I wouldn't like that. So, but I have fun with him. Oh my God, you can't beat that team. So of course we have fun, but we let him do what he does. I mean, you have to do what you're best at. And Franz does what he's best at. Jürgen does what he's best at. Boss, and I sort of in the middle somewhere. I just walk around. But the major difference between our influence and former ownership is that we have more of a hockey connection. We're more dialed in, let's say, to what goes on the ice with the players. And we make a call, can you get another player? We had, who was it? Neuer came, right? Christian. So we needed a player for a weekend because we had too many injuries. And, before Jürgen says, I don't know what we're going to do. I say, Jürgen, let me make a phone call. So we make one phone call, and 10 minutes later, we got a guy coming over. This is not easy if you don't know people. But it's just an example of how when you work together, you benefit from the strengths of your key people. I can't do what Franz does. I wouldn't want to do what Franz does. It's really not in my headspace. Coaching, I like to coach the little guys and the junior team, but I've done that now. So now it's my time to move on. And same thing with Jürgen. Being a general manager is great if you want to do like a full-time job. That's what you need. Somebody who does a full-time job at that. But to be president of the team is a little bit different. I just get the look. I have experience, with the on-ice product and the business of hockey, and just contribute and try to have some fun doing it.
Ich denke, das haben wir ganz gut hingebracht über die letzten Jahre, dass wir klare Aufgaben und Zuständigkeiten haben. Ja. Keiner mischt sich in die Aufgabe des anderen ein, ne? Und macht mir die Arbeit leichter. Umgedreht um Jürgen, dass er sich nicht um die Dinge kümmern muss, die bei mir auf den Schultern so lasten. Und der Stefan hat halt natürlich, wie er schon gesagt hat, den Schwerpunkt schon beim sportlichen Sektor. Ja, also,
wie ist denn der Bezug zwischen dem Verein, also der EV Weiden, und den Profis? Also gibt's da eine enge Connection oder wie
ist da ist die Schnittstelle, nicht nur weil wir es gestern Abend so besprochen, dass der Jürgen schon die letzten Jahre eben die Schnittstelle, dass die sportliche Komponente da im Vordergrund steht, ist klar, da ist jetzt nicht das Finanzielle und das Organisationsstrukturelle ganz wichtig, sondern die Ausbildung und die Entwicklung. Und da war die letzten Jahre schon der Jürgen der Hauptansprechpartner durch seine eigene Kompetenz, die er mitbringt. Ne? Also als ehemaliger Eishockey-Profi hat er natürlich einen Blick dafür, wie man es anders und besser machen kann. Und jetzt dadurch, dass er in der Jugend die nächste Generation herangewachsen ist, also er hat gesagt, eben das Meiler, der Christian Meiler, als eine Person, wie der Alex Robel, die früher selber bei uns in der ersten gespielt haben, die haben jetzt ihre Kinder in der Jugend und da kommt auch der Sachverstand und die Erfahrung wieder zusammen. Und das funktioniert eigentlich ganz gut, dass jeder seinen Zuständigkeitsbereich hat und kann sich da voll frei einbringen.
It's a good question though, because Franz talks about, he knows the people, the formality of it, with the club and with the pro team, and I'm just a different person. So naturally, when I come here, like Robles, for example, and Smiley, my relationship is different. We don't talk like all formal stuff. We share hockey stories, and Robles has a nice minivan, by the way. I was saying, I think he's like 1980 or something like that. But so they talk to me all the time about what's going on. They send me pictures of a youth hockey tournament, and they're proud of what's happening. So that's really the information I get. And now, with this next step coming up with working a little bit together, I guess I should learn, who does what more formally. But this is a matter of hockey relations in most places. If you have a pro team or a higher level junior team and you have the youth hockey team, you should help support one another. And that's very important. So however we can formalize that, that's great. We've already taken, like Robles and Meyer, the good examples of people who care and they want to do what's right for hockey. And given their hockey backgrounds, they understand what it's going to take. And when you're playing, you don't understand so much. You just want to play. And but now everybody has kids, right? So if I want my kid to be a good hockey player, I know what he has to do. So.
Franz hat gemeint, ein Grund, sich hier zu engagieren, ist, ihr seht eine positive Entwicklung des Eishockeys in Deutschland. Lässt sich das noch forcieren? Also lässt sich so eine Kultur wie Fußball ist die absolut dominante Sportart hier in Deutschland. Lässt sich das irgendwie verdrängen? Also kann man mit Eishockey, kann man das irgendwie künstlich auch nochmal nach vorne bringen?
I don't know if it'll ever be as popular as football or soccer, no. But I think that for a long time, especially since the German national team in World Junior Championship, for example, has been competitive. You have some fairly outstanding German players. That comes to mind immediately, Draisaitl for the Edmonton Oilers, and you go back and you have, Krug was a player a long time ago. There are more German people, German players, that are showing themselves in the American League and some of the other leagues in Canada and the NHL. So do I think it's important? I don't know that it'll ever replace soccer, but there's some interesting literature on German hockey. Not everybody knows just how close the German people are to this game. I mean, look at Weiden, for example.
Ja, nicht nur Weiden, wenn man jetzt zu den Eishockey-Standorten jetzt nicht nur erste oder zweite Liga schaut, sondern auch in der Oberliga. Jetzt bloß weil heute Abend so in Nachbarvereinen dasselbe Spiel gegen Rissensee. Jetzt, wenn man uns selbst schaut, dann ist mit Sicherheit Hockey die Sportart Nummer 1 oder in Garmisch, wo Fußball da ist, aber da ist absolut auch Hockey die Nummer 1.
Ja gut, das ist ja Winter-Skisportart quasi.
Ja, aber bundesweit ist natürlich Soccer. Ich bin auch Fußballfan, gar keine Frage. Aber es gibt schon in den Zentren von Hockey ganz einen klaren Schwerpunkt beim Hockey, nicht unbedingt beim Fußball. Und gut, bei Weiden, wir haben auch einen guten Draht untereinander zwischen der Spielvereinigung und uns. Aber dadurch, dass halt der Unterschied bei den Ligen dann so groß ist, gibt es da schon die klare Aussage, es gibt schon Standorte, wo Hockey die Sportart Nummer 1 ist, obwohl wir bundesweit vielleicht die Randsportart sind, aber es ändert sich Schritt für Schritt.
Ja, das war die Frage, also ob das sozusagen global sich noch verändern kann.
Also man sieht es ja an den Zuschauerzahlen, die sich ja jetzt, denke ich, überall sehr gut entwickeln und das Interesse ist da riesig und Hockey ist halt anders wie Fußball. Ne? Also ein langweiliges Hockeyspiel gibt es nicht.
Ja,
das dauert länger. Also man muss mehr Zeit mitbringen?
Naja, gut, 2 Stunden 15 dauert das Spiel normalerweise. Aber es ist halt immer was los, auch wenn es einmal 1:0 gibt, wie wir in Düsseldorf verloren haben. Ja. Aber ansonsten ist in jedem Hockeyspiel genügend geboten und da ist Power und Energie und Geschwindigkeit immer da.
Ich hätte gerne noch ein paar so biografische Angaben. Also wie bist du sozialisiert in Kanada? Du bist geboren in Kassel?
Ja, nein, meine Großmutter und Großvater waren in Kassel geboren und Mama auch. Ja. Und dann, vielleicht 1945 haben sie in Kanada, they took the boat over to Canada. And so I was born in Canada. And I grew up in Canada. We have German passports, of course, but meine ganze Familie ist aus Kassel. Ein kleines Dorf, nicht so weit weg von der Stadt. Es heißt Zimmershausen, with the Seeger family. And so we used to come visit, and we always had our family come from Germany to Canada. Wir haben gar kein Englisch zu Hause gesprochen, also bis ich, 12, 13 Jahre alt war. Wir haben immer zu Hause Deutsch gesprochen, weißt du. Und in der Schule, but of course I went to school, I had to speak English, but I have funny stories. As, if you grow up in a German household, no matter where you are, you could be in a continent, it doesn't have to be Canada, but we ate German. We listened to German music. So on Saturday, my grandparents would clean the house, vacuum the couch, and then Oma hat mir immer gesagt, du musst jetzt, you have to, Heinchi, you have to sing Heinchi today. So 5, 6 years old. So, yeah. So we would sing Heinchi. We would have schönes Abendessen immer, Gulasch mit Spätzle und Rouladen. And my point is, in Aufschnitt haben wir immer so gerne auch. Und sie haben, meine Großeltern haben in kleine Geschäft, das heißt Denningers. And it was a lad for just German food, right? So I remember way back then. So it was very normal for us to, if you go to school, you have hot dog day. Well, hot dog is, right? So the hot dog day, I'm looking at other people around and said, we didn't eat hot dogs at home. Maybe we'll eat bratwurst or something like that, but our Bockwurst might be different. But so there was a German store that opened up, it's like 1980, in the mall in Canada. They started to have big malls. And Denningers, the little Deutsche Laden, they opened a store there. So I thought this was great. So you go in the morning, say, do a little shopping. Oma, I'll meet you in an hour. And I would go into the Denningers and I say, okay, Reed, okay, ich will ein bisschen Gulaschsuppe haben. So I would order Gulaschsuppe. I would sit there and I'd be eating. And then, oh my God, now my friends come now. They have pizza and I'm trying to hide. I want them to see me eating the Gulaschsuppe because if you're in Canada or United States, you have to be like Canadian or American. But yeah, it was interesting growing up, and that's why we spent a lot of time with our family. And so those are some of my German roots stories. I like to sing old German songs once in a while. After the second beer, maybe if I have 2 Weiss beer and they start singing, nice, Junge, komm mal wieder, so just fun stories of my grandparents. So I yeah.
In welcher Stadt war das?
Pardon me?
Wo war das genau? In welcher Stadt war die?
In
Canada?
Which city?
in Canada. I was born in Hamilton, between Niagara Falls and Toronto. So right in the middle there. Okay. And there's a lot of hockey players that come from there.
Du kamst aber mit Eishockey schon in Berührung dann in Kanada oder nur mit deutschen Sportarten?
As a young boy, you played hockey?
Well, I played hockey. My son played more hockey than I did. Yeah, everybody played hockey. So I had a few games of junior hockey. That's my claim to fame. But I never was. I was never good enough to string a full season together. But of course, the competition in Canada was much in that. But everybody loved hockey, and when my son was born, that's really when it took off. He played in the CHL, which is probably the best junior league in the world. He played in Germany, in Frankfurt and Freiburg and Kassel as well. So when he was growing up, we coached the teams, and in the area, luckily, like Glenn was there, Mark Messier was around. We had Johnny Quick, the goalie. Now he's playing with the Rangers. We had a whole many NHL players. Max Pacioretty. They were all around our neighborhood. And so the kids, like I was saying here, in the summertime, there was a couple of people that had private ice rinks, and they would open them up to the NHL players, and the kids would come and they would skate with them, and then they would watch them on the TV. So, yeah, that's how I got into a lower level junior coaching and that kind of thing. Meet a lot of people that way. So I'm not a hockey legend, not like Jürgen or Glenn. I played the game, and when my son was born, we spent a lot of time. Every weekend we're gone, early out of school, everything else. So.
Aber das Land oder die Natur prägt ja letztendlich ja diese Eishockey-Kultur. Also meine Eltern kommen aus Tschechien und in Tschechien ist in jedem Dorf ein zugefrorener Weiher, auf dem man Eishockey spielen konnte. Und es wird ja in Kanada ähnlich sein, also dass man einfach früher mit Hockey in Berührung kommt, als das in der Regel in Deutschland der Fall ist.
It's very, very, very common, especially now. Even I remember when I was a teenager who played juvenile hockey, even girls hockey at that time had started in Canada. You didn't see so much in the rest of the world because all you see in Canada is they eat, sleep, and breathe hockey, and so naturally, if you're a female hockey player, you have more opportunities because the little sister wants to play hockey like the brother, and I think that was great for the sport. They have professional hockey and women's hockey now, and in the Olympic sports, and there's a lot of scholarship money in the United States for girls hockey, and but yeah. The Czech Republic is an example. When we were kids, we used to love to watch, of course, the Canada Cup or the World Cup, and way back when. The Russians were the guys that everybody wanted to. If you ask Glenn, he was very impressed with the Russians. It was difficult not to be, because you see you have the Canadian players are the best players in the world, and the Russians came over and they play this tic-tac-toe hockey. Nobody ever seen it before. So, and then, you know, more recently in the last 20 years, you have the Swedish hockey system. You have a lot of good Swedish players. So the Canadians are smart when it comes to hockey. They pay attention. The Americans too. You know, they always strive to do what's best, and each of the cultures has something to contribute. So you learn from one another that way. I don't think it's anything different than, for example, an organizational thing. If you have the culture that likes the game, Czechs are great hockey players too.
If I understand it right, you work in the USA and in Canada, both, and recently there are many tensions between USA and Canada because of the Trump mania, of the tariff mania of Trump.
Yeah.
Is there any impact also on the sports, because the NHL is together and
I don't want to get too political, but I was from law school in 1994, so I have been in the United States for the last 30 years. When I go home, I go to visit my family, and of course I'm aware of what's going on in American politics. I work mostly as a lawyer in the United States. I do some international work. I've done some international work in Kosovo, Mexico, and Ukraine, always related to some sort of, you know, some. I'm a criminal lawyer, so there's always something going on outside the country that involves an American interest. In terms of the tariffs and the Trump craze, I haven't really noticed it. Oh, you know what my sister said? She said, and my brother too, he said, I came back from the United States and I went to the duty-free store. Because, you know, it's very common, if you live near a border, you go to the States for a weekend, you come back and you can buy yourself, you know, whiskey or something, and you don't pay the duty. So he says, yeah, I went over there and I was going to bring home a bottle of whiskey, and it would cost more money. I go, what happened? He said, there's tariffs. So that was the only thing I noticed about the tariffs, was that the duty-free store, if you drive over the border. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know too much about how the impact of the tariffs are really making out in Canada. I guess we're just not at that level where we notice it. But yeah, there's a little bit of tension. There's some politicians, and I'm going to mention any names, in Toronto that, you know, they just creating, I think, a competitive atmosphere in a negative way sometimes for absolutely nothing, for political reasons. I mean, like here in Germany, the tax system, you pay a lot of taxes here in Germany. And like everywhere else in the world, you know, people want to take home their paycheck and save their money and that type of thing. So anytime the politicians get involved and it's costing the people money, it's not fun for anybody. You know, it's less money to buy a ticket for a hockey game. So, you know, you have to, I take the good with the bad. You know, I think that tariffs work. You know, as a lawyer on the political side of things, sometimes you have no other option, you know, but to try to be defensive with another country, short of going to war with them. I suppose that the economic sanctions is a very common thing, you know, with the Russians and with the Chinese, for example. And then you see sometimes the tariff or the threat of tariff changes things, and they say, oh, then Trump is happy. He says, oh yeah, you see the tariffs work. And then the Democrats say, oh, all these tariffs are driving our friends away. We'll see how it all works out. I don't know. For me, it's just a duty-free store. So.
There have been some portrayals in the newspaper last times. I think you were not too happy about it. You want to clarify something about the role of the Birch group or the background?
No, I was. I'm not unhappy with any media. I think that the media should go out there and they can investigate, and if they want to make a story that's a negative or positive, that's you know, in the United States there's free speech, and there should be free speech. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Well, what's shocking sometimes is the Birch group comes into a small community like this, basically to save a team, you know, a jewel in the crown of this area of Weiden in hockey, and some of the media get more interested in why corporate papers don't tell the whole story about, for example, Dave's life. You know, I'm pretty much an open book. If you go on the internet, you can find out who I am very quickly. But they were interested in the ongoings of the Birch group, and I don't remember who the media outlet was, and it doesn't matter. I'm more than happy to talk to them or anybody else to straighten it out. But it's like here in Germany too. What do you think? We came into Weiden, we purchased a professional hockey team in a corporation, and there's some underlying mysterious story. Go to the town hall, look at what the documents are. In Canada and the United States we have, and I think it's similar here, in the United States you have an LLC, limited liability company. And sometimes people that want to make investments in various different things sometimes have a lot of money. And they don't want their names necessarily on 15 different companies, so they have an agent, or they have a different type of corporate entity that they might choose for tax purposes. Some of these legal vehicles have the benefit of not having to disclose, for example, the director's name and the director's address and this type of thing. And there are many reasons for that. And I'm a criminal lawyer, and so one of the first thing that comes to mind is, you have people out there that want to know other people's financial business all the time, and sometimes that can lead to, sabotage in a company. There's a lot of different reasons why. It's really nothing more than privacy. So if somebody wants to, a company or an individual wants to put his money into a project and he just wants to be quiet about it, just like, for example, if somebody wants to donate to charity anonymously, it's all part of doing business. If you didn't inspire some of the privacy in business, you wouldn't get the investment. And so they made a big deal, I think, and I don't remember what it was. I thought it was a radio station or maybe a podcast, but I was shocked by this. We looked and we tried to find more information. Well, there's a reason, and everybody, they have their lawyers, they have their corporate documents, and that's what they want the public to know. But the most important part is it's all just the law, and it's really not a secret. So I thought they tried to make a big story about it, like as if there was something, untoward. But there's nothing untoward. We had an earlier question to the Birch Group, if you remember. The Birch Group only owns, I remember, 87% or something of the shares in the company. Well, and so the other ownership interests, the legal transaction is, the real question is who owns a company, who owns all of the shares? So the Birch Group owns all of the shares of the Weiden Blue Devils. So because the transaction is that some of the shareholders' shares went back into the company, they made this big thing about this. There's nothing strange about this. I mean, we could change it if we had. I don't know. Are we changing it? It's not necessary. So they take something that's really not a secret. It's really just a matter of a legal transaction, and they try to make something of it. That's one of the things I have to say. There was some people in the media, I thought, and I don't remember. And if you know who you are, then call me. My point is, they would say silly things like, there must be something going on. Why would they come to Weiden? It's like these are not gangsters coming from overseas to buy a team, and that's not what happened. And they don't tell the more human side of the story. I told you the story. We were looking for a team to invest. We all have interest in hockey. My son coaches a team in the British Columbia Hockey League. He's been on 3 different teams here in Germany. He's a friend with Vladi Phelan. We happened to be looking for a team, and I kind of felt, hey, maybe I should look in more. I watched the game, the TV. I spoke to Dave. So we wanted to get a professional team anyway, because this is, Dave has also the vision of growing the organization and moving players back and forth and that type of thing. That's all it was. It was a philanthropic thing, and the first thing you would expect if you come to Weiden, say, hey, and I did. 85% of the people, thank you so much. It's great to see you. And I was shocked. I went downtown to the Italian restaurant one night. Some guy came to me. He was from Australia. He's from Australia in Weiden, and he said, oh, Mr. Seeger. I turned around, I've never seen this guy in my life. I've only been in Weiden for 24 hours. But he was a hockey connoisseur. And he knew all about the Blue Devils. That's great what you did for the team. And then you go to the local shops and some of the local vendors, and they talk to you. Hey, this is a great thing. At least we have our team. And then the flip side is this big conspiracy theory. Oh, wait a minute. There must be something bad about that. There's nothing bad about any of this. We came in philanthropically, saved the team. We want the team to have a good future. Our message last night was clear. It's our future together. And that's what the message is. And so those people who want to know more about who's behind the Birch Group, there's really nothing more to it. Birch Group does what it does, and I do what I do.
Eine sportliche Frage noch. Was sind Ihre Erwartungen an die Blue Devils heuer? in dieser Saison. Wie weit denken Sie, können die Blue Devils
not
kommen?
that
Also
again.
Playoffs
Yeah.
ist ein Ziel, oder?
I'm just going to tell you the truth, like I told before. I don't care if they don't like it or if I get in trouble for it. It's not meant for that reason. I have a very, very positive outlook for this team. I wouldn't be here otherwise. And so does Jürgen, and so does Bassa. We have experienced some injuries, but do I think we're going to be in the playoffs? Yes, I do. I think we're going to be in the playoffs. I think we have the team to do that. And when we're fully equipped and our bench is there with all of our German players and our import players together, I think I said before, we will go deep into the playoffs, and that's still my view, based on what I see with the other teams, and what our competitive level is with other teams. Yes, I do. That my outlook for the team on ice is very positive. I think we'll be there right to the very end, and I think the fans here will be impressed, and they'll like how deep we go. That's what my vision for this year would be. So.
And what's your vision for the next 5 years or something like that? If you
I've only been here for 6 or 7 months. So we're going to work this year to try to polish everything off and to try to see who really is affiliated with the team and where it's all going. But ideally, I would like to have the team get stronger for the next few years. The rink, as I said, it would be great to have a few more seats in here because I think people would come. But most importantly, just staying local for now. I mean, the city deserves the team and deserves the team to stay here. And like any other organization, if there's some opportunity to do something bigger, that would be up to these guys. Like I said, the Birch group comes in and we're here. But I very rarely, they make their own decisions. If I see something that's crazy once in a while, I say, friends, no, we're not going to do that. Answer is no. But very rarely, you're going to the same thing. It's like, I think we got to get this guy. We're not going to do that. Okay. It's your team. It's the community. So I would much rather become a beloved member of the Weiden community than I would become, the boss of the Weiden Blue Devils that does things my way. It's just so much of a nicer atmosphere to come there and share the experience with who it means the most to. So 5 years from now, maybe get some more seats in the diner. Maybe the bubble hockey league is taken off. Maybe very importantly, the next 5 years, I certainly would like to see the team work closely with the youth hockey organization. What I would really love to see and have the boys here and the Devils organization take credit for is to inspire a player or two from our youth hockey organization and then have one of them end up in the European draft or something in the CHL or play at a high level junior. I mean, it's a beautiful history. It's beautiful. We have two Szymanskis here on the ice. You got another Szymanskis playing, I think, in Bakersfield with the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah. This is a sign of German history and how deep that it can get in German hockey history. So would I like to see more of that? Yeah, and you'll see the little guys, they look up to their older brothers. Szymanski's brothers. I think that's great. I think if I was a fan here, I would appreciate that from a fan perspective. Noah was playing last year in Powell River, very small market team, very difficult to win there. He played there, and my son coached him. So there was a line of communication. So he was with one team. I'm not going to mention anything, but we knew early that he wanted to come to Weiden. And you have to talk to the agents and you have to talk to the other team, and it's not always easy. But I said, don't worry, it's going to work itself out. It's just, it's meant to be. The two brothers are going to be in Weiden, and it worked out. It's a great story. So 5 years from now, we have other brothers. I hope so. I think we have maybe one of our junior players that goes over to get experience in Canada and then comes back to Germany and becomes a star player on the Weiden Blue Devils. That would be great. But youth hockey has to be developed. The organization has to become more stable. We have to really, the history has to include much more positive things than negative things. And the media has a responsibility, I think, too. There's nothing negative about the team. It's always good to have a team that you can rally around in your community. So, we like to have that kind of support. Our sponsors need to feel comfortable. And I think they will, going ahead in the future, using each other to, the team has to benefit business and business has to benefit the team. So I think increased sponsorship was one of the goals, increased presence and contribution to the youth hockey. And playing a hand, making sure that we play our part in German hockey history, because your earlier question was an interesting one about hockey culture in Germany. If you read about the history of hockey in Germany, you look at the teams before, there's a lot more hockey that's been played in Germany than you realize. And Jürgen's not getting any younger, so we can talk about what happened 30 years ago, but it's an example. So if you go back and you ask Jürgen, who were your hockey heroes? He's going to tell you about German hockey heroes that are 20 years before him, and it goes back a lot further than you think. So play a hand in bringing up to where it could be. There's a lot of potential here. German hockey players tend to be smart. They're not hardworking. And I just think that their opportunity is foreclosed because it's not the same here in America. You have to be a very, very good hockey player. And if you're not hooked up with the German national team, you have less junior opportunities in Canada and that type of thing. I'd like to see more German hockey players enter the higher level in the NHL. And they have a precedent for that. They have people they can look up to. And I mean, it must be great to be German and have a player like Draisaitl, at the front end of the NHL and scores. And so 5 years from now, I don't know. Let's go one step at a time for now. But you are correct. You do have to have a vision. Vision right now is unity and working together. If that's there, I think you're going to see an organization that's much more polished. And as I said, the sky's the limit with the team if we can keep an ice hockey product on the ice. But it's Weiden's team. It's not the Birch Group's team. We belong to the community, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
But what are the expectations of the Birch Group for the club for a long-term invest to stabilize in the second league, or is there any minimum expectation?
Yeah, I mean, minimally, what we expect is we came in and we understand that the financial situation here was not good. Could 5 years from now the team be much more self-sufficient? It's difficult to run a team on a small market team with the budget with this many seats, but if you're losing $500,000 a year and instead of $1.5 million a year, is that something that's a short-term expectation? Or yeah, of course you want to work towards that because you can divert funds that you lose and you can put it towards other things, like for example youth hockey and that type of thing. So yeah, one of the expectations is as the stability comes and as the sponsors know that they're going to have a product on the ice that makes the community proud and branding with the team is worth it. Yeah, I think that we'll do a little better. What are you going to do? You're limited, so you have to have other ideas. You have to have other events at the rink. If you can't fit 10,000 people into an arena that only fits 2,500 people. There's nothing you can do about that. So in the future, we've put an advisory board together. I started that with some pretty good people. There's a Grundle Glass, and the Grundle family is always very, very prominent in the group of sponsors that want to see the team do well. And we have Alex Vogel, who does a lot of work. And these are people that have full-time jobs, and they still spend a lot of time here. So my expectation also includes somehow you have to convince the people, especially the younger people. I mean, when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, you're not making millions of dollars anyways. So if you have some free time, you want to contribute to the community, and you do something for the Devils, then we'll do something for the youth hockey people, just so that it's good. You can't run a youth hockey organization or a small market professional team without volunteers, especially here. One of the shocking things is the amount of taxes that people pay here in Germany. It is shocking. And the incentives that we have here are very different than, for example, in America or in Canada. So we have to work towards stabilizing things and for the future, just to become more financially viable. In other words, to take care of ourselves a little bit more than just to simply Seeger. You used the example earlier of Straubing, right? Yes, this small market, but they have 5,000 seats, I think, in there or something like that. But they also have their major sponsors, like a crane company, a big operating company, and they have a huge sponsorship there. And without that, they wouldn't be able to. I don't know too much about their economics, but it would certainly be more difficult to operate at such an optimal level like they do. They do a very good job there, and so as a model, it would be nice. It would be nice to have a sponsor that was similar in stature to that, and a group of people who are close knit, close tight, and put that on the ice. So, yeah, the 5-year plan. Once we get out of this year, I'll give you a better 5-year plan. But right now, obvious things. Get some more volunteers, have some more sponsorship opportunity, work with the youth hockey people, and let the people know, send a clear message that, as I said, this is not the Birch Group's team, this is the Weiden Blue Devils team. I'm here to help, to serve, not to take anything over. If I wanted to do that, we would have no coach from last year. You know, I know 1,000 different people we can, you know, call a coach tomorrow. That's not what you do. It's not. It's the truth. I mean, the message is consistent with that, right? Come in here and say, hey, Franz, you know, the team lost money because we lost a sponsor last year. You must not be doing your job, so I'm going to replace you. That's the stupidest thing. It's bad for business, and it's also bad for the message in the community. So we're going to stick with our own. We're going to stick with our people, and we're going to do the right thing. And if we have to make budget cuts in certain places, we will. If we have to make investments in other areas, then we will. We have to juggle it somehow. But we'll require, let's just say, the support of the community and the business people in the community. And as I told them last night, you have my card. You don't need to send me an email. You don't need to make an appointment to see me. You call me on WhatsApp, or if you see me in the lounge up here, come over and have a coffee or a beer. We can talk about what's on your mind, and that's what I think is the best way in a small community. I go out here if I can. I sit with the fans and I talk to everybody, anyway, just from younger fans to older fans. And so the next 5 years, we'll see. It's all going to depend on the heartbeat of the community. There's no doubt about that. So. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I remember a football director, CEO in Regensburg, always told me, don't invest in legs, invest in stones. Do you think that's true?
I do. Don't invest in.
What does it mean for ice hockey?
So give me the exact English expression. So you said, what was the?
He said, don't invest in legs, as in
Players.
Yeah.
In players, but invest in stones, as in the infrastructure of the club and something like the organization and something like that.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, if you own your own rink, that's one thing.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you have an ownership group that owns its own facility, and you're doing an investment, you're not renting things, you're not depending on the city, for example, it's a different story. So if you say yes, invest in stones, he means that from an investment standpoint. Will you make more money in the long run? Well, you know, it's a simple proposition. Sure, if you buy a good piece of land, it increases in value. That's great. Do your players increase your value? Spirit-wise, they do. You can have as many stones and as many rooms in your building as you want. If your team is boring, and alles ist immer langweilig on the Wochenende, then who's going to come and see the team? What do you have the team for? I have a good investment, but we can't win a game and nobody comes. Did I make money? Sure, but most people in hockey don't want to do that. They like the thrill, the excitement of the game. So you have to invest in players, and you have to invest in the youth as well. Maybe they inherit the building that the stones comprise, but yeah. It's not an investment thing. It's not like, hey, this is a great investment. Mm-hmm. You know, anybody who says that is ridiculous. It's you love the sport, you love the game, you take your skills and you say, hey, let's try to make that organization the best it can be. And while we're at it, let's share in the wins. Let's share in the losses. You know.
How difficult is scouting? Everybody wants to get the best players, but not every club get it.
Well, I mean, there's two ways to do that, right? I mean, you can have a club that has a lot of money. I mean, in the United States, you know, if you're the New York Yankees or the Dodgers, for example, play the Blue Jays this year in the World Series, you imagine the difference in their budgets. So you can do it that way, or you don't have to have a huge budget. You have to have a good coach. You have to have a good management. People that play hockey, they like to go where they're welcome, where they're wanted, where they get ice time and that type of thing. So there's really a fine balance. When we have imports, for example, that could have had a lot of other opportunities, and they came to Weiden. Why? Well, you know, they knew somebody that we knew. We spoke with Jürgen. Jürgen and I spoke with them at the beginning of the year. This is what we can do. And the players like to know, where do I fit in the roster? Will I play? And so there's a fine balance. You really have to know how to have a player embrace the idea that you can come here, you're going to make 10,000 euros less. However, this will happen or that will happen. And some players, they believe in themselves, and as they should, that their opportunity is more important than their salary. And it goes both ways. That's with the younger kids. With the older guys, some of them, maybe they're finishing up, but if you have older guys that understand the business and maybe they want to go into coaching someday, maybe they want to go to management, you tell them, look, you're going to get out there, maybe you're not going to play 26 minutes a game, but we want you to be a role model for some of the younger players. And hockey players appreciate that. They're not just machines and counting their dollar signs in their eyes, not at this level anyways. And so it's a delicate balance. How do you get the best players? You have to have an organization that welcomes the players. You have to have them they want, and you have to have a decent salary. So can we compete with other teams that have double the player salary? Yeah, I think we can. Is it more difficult? Sure. But it doesn't mean that it can't be done. And you'll see this year, we've got, as I said before, if we have McNiven firing on all 4 cylinders and he's between the pipes this year. We have our imports are all healthy, and the strength of our German core is noticeable in terms of what I watch the other teams do on the ice, and you will. I would not be surprised if we go very deep if everybody's healthy, and there's a reason for that. And if you want, you're free to ask some of the players. I encourage you to. The locker room here is in good shape. Obviously, you can't win every game, but when the players respect the coach, when the players respect the general manager, business operations, when they respect the ownership group, and you tell them the truth, and you're around if they need something. It's not odd. People don't know this. So, for example, I might have 3 or 4 players that I speak with last month, for example. One might call me and say, I was thinking about this, my family wants me to go here and that. What do you think? What do you think this opportunity? That's great. When you want, I don't want to do it now. I want to do it in a couple of years. So it's a lot more familial than you think. And I know some of the parents of the players, and it's not just money that brings the players in. That's my point. We're not the Dodgers of the league, but we have the spirit of the Dodgers 10 times over. And so let's build on what we can. We can't cry over what we don't have. What we have to do is move forward and take the positive things that we do have and turn them into success, basically. I have no qualms about going downstairs and talking to Bassa, saying, hey, Bassa, good job. We beat the Cruyffeld Pirates. I have no qualms about going downstairs and saying, Bassa, listen, we just lost 4 games in a row. These lines are all mixed up. Let's listen. We got some people. Let's sit together and try to work this out, because we can't lose. The players want to win. They want to keep together. And I have no problem telling Jürgen, this player, I know that we want a right-handed defenseman, for example, but right now we don't have that in the budget. So go downstairs, figure out who can fill in that spot, work with what we have, and let's get through it, which we did just recently with the injuries. And winning culture, yes. Overboard, no. Just want to make sure that the team is here and can be loved and respected and appreciated by their fans, and the players have a warm and comfortable place to play. I've never really been in too many organizations where they come up and they say, I'm really having a good time here. The imports will come and say, it's a nice, really pretty little place, and how's Jürgen? Jürgen's great. If you have any trouble, you want a question, you go ask Jürgen if Franz is around. So he may not be on the ice doing hockey things, but it's not uncommon for them to call him or to say, or I'll say, go see Franz about that. He'll help you. And those are the kind of things that the players remember and that they welcome in their own lives. You got to remember, these guys are young men. Vladdy Phelan's got his little baby here. So what do you think when he's 10, 15 years from now? The little one's going to see pictures of herself or other little babies on the team, or himself. Hey, I was in the VIP room. This is when my dad was playing hockey. I'm a family guy. I mean, I remember those things, and you can't replace those things with dollars sometimes. And I think some of these guys, when they get in their late 20s, early 30s, they recognize it.
And he is playing the future.
Exactly. That's right. This is the future. That's right. And they have so much fun, it's a fun sport to watch.
And Glenn is also on the ice.
Is he on the ice now?
The right side.
Oh my God, he's going to win something. Glenn will start to do the drills himself at some point. There's a joke. Every time we have a project and Glenn's involved, it's like my son will say, just pack his skates in the bag. And so we always laugh, right? He cannot stay off the ice.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. He's got to have something to do with the ice. And we're fortunate to have him for another game here this weekend. And then hopefully we get him back. But this is the kind of thing he also has a lot. He does this with the New York Rangers, the Learn to Skate program. And it would be nice to have something here. We're going to talk, I think, Thursday with some of the youth hockey people about an academy. And he ran a North American Hockey School Academy for many, many years, and he liked it a lot. And something like that would draw attention. I think they have some Czech camps. I think you have to go over the border for hockey. Well, why shouldn't we have one in our own backyard? It makes sense. We have to talk, Franz, you have to talk to the Stadtwerk and make sure we keep some more ice open for a few more weeks. But it's the least they could do after that glass fiasco, you know what I mean? Anyway. If there's anything else, whatever, I don't know. Sometimes I understand the German 100%. If you speak too quickly, then you lose me. So
You speak too strong Bavarian, perhaps.
the accent's a little bit different.
The accent is special.
And you feel already a little bit at home here in
Yeah. After I felt at home 10 hours after I got here. I always meet somebody that's of my same kind. And I remember the first night that we came here, everybody was anxious to tell the story or how they fit into the team. And, you'd be polite. So you have a Weiss beer. I haven't had a Weiss beer in a long time, Weiss beer. So I had a couple of Weiss beers, and I look at this, 10:30, okay, game's over. How long did people stay here? So they had another beer, and there were some people out in the restaurant. And I couldn't understand, the game is over. This place is empty here. And I'm in here, maybe 4 or 5 people. It was nice to listen, but they were having so much fun in the restaurant there, the fan club people. And I said to, I think it was Vogel or how come they can't come in here? Oh no, this got a VIP room. I had another Weiss beer, and I went out. I went to the bathroom. I came up and I said, come in the VIP. Everybody came in. So then when they came in that night, since then we had another one of these guys signed up for a VIP ticket, and they talk. And when you come in, you say hello, goodbye, and it's just like really good spirit, So that was the first 10 hours. So now every time I come here, the thing I'm afraid of most when I land is the first night, because you haven't seen anybody in, like, for example, a month and a half, and they want to spend time, they want to tell you what's happening. But yeah, I feel at home here. Franz knows I like Leberkäse. So we go to.
Always the first step.
Yeah, always go to the Butchermesse in the morning.
You looking for a flat or for a house?
Not yet, but we talked about it with Cully today, but maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. I think right now we have to take some steps, walk before we run, and stick together. That's the main message. We'll see. Maybe we can get our own beer, Franz. The Blue Devils. I have a nice idea. I think I want to do Blue Devils pizza. So there's a special. How they have coffee things and they put your name on it and they're different colors. You got the machines now. You can do like a Blue Devils pizza with the Blue Devils logo in the middle, and then Glenn's face on the box.
And what blue fruit?
I don't know. I was trying to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, aubergine.
We'll figure something. We can make it real German. That would be good, right? Yeah. And because the little kids love pizza. So if we could brand a Weiden Blue Devils pizza, we should do that. We can have our own beer, that'd be good, but am I allowed to say that?
We have had it in the past, with Fruitfest.
We got to get it again.
Absolutely, Blue Devils beer.
Was it any good?
I think so, yes.
You should found our own brewery.
That's what I would like to do. Good idea, Very good idea. Yeah. We have to move forward and do some other things to generate revenues. We're in Bavaria, why would we not focus on beer? That's the biggest mistake in this.